Welcome back. Hope you're having a good morning. Well, the gift Nifty is suggesting we open up mildly in the green the last time I checked. Yesterday, we ended at the low point of the day, so sustainability of that bounce is going to be crucial. Amnish Aggarwal, Head of Research at Prabhudas Lilladher, joins us on the show. Hi, Amnish. Thanks so much for joining in. Amnish, I wanted to ask you about ITC. There's going to be a possible, exit by BAT, some part of their stake as well, and that could be on the stock. Though the stock has already corrected more than 15% from the peak that we saw around 6 months or so ago. What's your view on the stock at around 410? If there is weakness, would you look to be a buyer?
Yeah, hi Nigel. Thanks for having me on the show. Now, as you rightly said, ITC has corrected by say around 15% from the peak. And the news of that trying to sell the stake down to say somewhere around 25-26% over the coming few months, it has been there from quite some time. So in the medium to long term, I think the positioning for ITC continues to be good. Particularly, my sense is that if BAT reduces the stake, it doesn't impact the company operationally in any manner. So usually we have seen that these days offer for sale, or you can say events like that, they actually happen at a discount. And if the stock goes below 400, I would say 400 or any such level. So I think we would be recommending people to buy the stock. Our target is around say 480 odd rupees, and I believe that from there on one can expect a move of 10 to 15% over the coming few months.
Okay, so looking to keep the faith on ITC. Amnish, hi, good morning. Your thoughts on what we're seeing with some of these large NBFCs, right? The news that came in on Aditya Birla Capital. The workaround that they have found is this reverse merger of Aditya Birla Finance into Capital. Just your thoughts on how a lot of the large business groups are dealing with this, to meet the RBI stipulations, and what is the takeaway, if at all, one can, derive on the Tata Group? We all know the excitement in the market about that possible listing of Tata Sons, right?
You see, for NBFCs, I think the RBI regulation is very clear. And yesterday also, people were even, you can say, the market was buzz about HDB finance issue coming into the market. So I think all the finance companies which are of material size now will have to list. And I think there could be, you can say, various ways, even you can say merger, reverse merger, direct IPO. So that is likely to be there. And similarly, I think there was a lot of, you can say, expectations around Tata Sons IPO also. So my sense is that Tata Sons is a very different case in point, but otherwise for many of these companies, once they get listed, then I think there will be much more starker differentiation between the financials of various listed and NBFC companies. And our stance remains very clear that in the longer term, I believe that your price to book value gap, which existed between the various, you can say, tier 1 finance companies and banks, so that should narrow down over the, you can say, coming 2-3 years. For example, we have seen now Bajaj Finance gradually, you can say, getting a lower price to book. Banks are still, the best banks today are 2.5 times. So I think still there's a room, but definitely these listings are going to result in some sort of, you can say, reduction in the price to book multiple for NBFCs in the medium term.
Just your sort of thoughts on, what's been happening in the broader markets, Amnish. A certain degree of nervousness certainly starting to show up in broader markets. Do you get that sense as well? And how would you navigate the landscape now from here?
Yeah, Prashant, I think when we, you can say, discussed in last time, then only I was very clear that next couple of months are going to be very volatile, because the markets are not very expensive, but they are no more cheap. That is one. Secondly, we are heading into elections. And when we are heading into elections, there will be only political, you can say, news which will be flowing around. No new projects will be coming. No big announcements are likely from the government. And some of the sectors which are driving the market, whether it is, you can say, cap goods, infra, a lot of announcements. So that is going to take a breather for the next 2 or 3 months. Now, given this entire backdrop, I think the stance on interest rates, what are the global movements, I think that is something which is going to drive the market. And I don't rule out for that for the next couple of months, the markets will remained, I would say, range bound with an upward bias from here on.
Amnish, just a quick view on AB Capital. If you have coverage, I mean, there is news on it earlier, okay, I think, we'll get to AB Capital in just a bit because we want to put out something on that a little bit from now. Public sector banks, PSU Banks, Amnish, if you want to sort of take that with us. PNB, SBI, Bank of Baroda, there was a Spark Capital note yesterday late evening, essentially, like one or two others before, saying that maybe that space has also done a little too much and there is very little comfort there. This entire talk of ROEs, etc. over the last 2 years extending into eternity will not last. And these are large behind. Do you agree with that, Amnish?
Yeah, I think I highlighted it last time also that many of these PSU banks, particularly, so they have actually seen a very sharp run up in their stock prices, and consequently, if one wants to be in PSU incrementally, then one wants to be an SBI or say, you can say a BOB, where some bit of comfort. Although if you look at say last 5-year average, these in terms of price to book. So definitely in some of these mid caps, small caps, we might have already seen that now incrementally the returns would come, and if the market corrects, they will also. But having said that, if you compare these banks with some of the private banks, I think the incremental trade could be a shift from say some of these PSU banks, which have seen very sharp increase in their price to book, to some of these private banks, which have got good balance sheets, reasonably good.
Okay, all right, Amnish, thank you very much for that.